Hello everyone, it's me, Clayton. I just got back from watching the new film The Kid Who Would Be King, directed by Joe Cornish, who's the exact same director who gave us, who also did screenwriting credits for The Adventures of Tintin and Ant-Man, so it goes without saying that this film is pretty much as good as you'd expect. It's a classic tale of King Arthur's exploits done in the modern age with great child actors, a cool story, and very important lessons that kids should really take advantage of. But let's get to the story, shall we? The story is that Alex is your average good British young boy who comes across the ancient sword Excalibur and finds out that he has to save the world from Morgana, King Arthur's half sister, who wants to use the sword for her own evil purposes. He has to get together a band of knights. He has to team up with the wizard Merlin, and he has to find a way to somehow kill Morgana and save the world from her demon army. It's a pretty basic story, all things considered, something you've probably seen in a bunch of other films of this type. But one of the things that makes this film work is that it's a deliberate throwback to a lot of 80s and 90s kid adventure films. You know, kid, ones like Stand By Me, Goonies, Monster Squad, that whole deal. The movies that allowed kids to feel like true heroes, traversing through various lands, learning magic and sword fighting, and defeating a big villain at the end. It's a deliberately old school kind of movie, and because of that, it helps it stand out nowadays. And it brought me back to a time when I was a little tyke and I ran around with a plastic sword and a plastic shield around my backyard. Something that a lot of 5th and 6th and 4th graders aren't exactly doing a lot nowadays. But another thing that makes the film work is that its actors really get into the roles very well. Rebecca Ferguson is a great Morgana. I think she was practically born to play an over-the-top villain, and Morgana is definitely a very frightening and very cool villain for the film to go for. Sort of like The Enchantress if The Enchantress was done correctly. And also, Patrick Stewart does a great job as Merlin, and because it's Patrick Stewart, he's going to put his all into almost any role that you can think of. And I'm pretty sure this film is going to be a lot less embarrassing than his role in the Emoji Movie. And even the kid actors, particularly the main lead, Alex, are all really good in their roles. They all feel convincing. They are all totally into what's going on. You can tell that the casting department did a great job here. Unfortunately, there are a few problems with the film that you probably won't find in other old school films. Mainly is that there are some bits of CGI that don't work. Now, granted, the practical effects that are there, the sets and some of the CGI effects do work, but some of them are very noticeably bad and they are very unconvincing. This is mainly in the climax, but I was able to overlook those. And some people who won't get the old school charm may say that the story is just generic and that it doesn't really grab them. I consider that to be kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it brings back memories of the old days, but on the other hand, you can kind of tell where the story's going to go at every single turn. You know when a certain cliche is going to happen. You know when a certain character is going to show up. You know when a character will say an important line, etc. But the film also manages to teach kids a code of chivalry. To be nice to one another, to respect your friends, to always tell the truth, to fight against injustice, all that jazz. And yeah, it's a little corny at times, but I think we'd kind of expect that with a movie of this type. And it does a really good job doing what it needs to do. So, if you're looking for an old school classic 80s style adventure film, this one's definitely for you. I give this film an 8 out of 10. See you next time.